You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
Welcome in, everyone. You know who it is. You know what it is. It's The Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television. I'm your man, G Sizzle. He's in the building. He's Jay Sizzle. What's going on,
Man, I'm feeling
Jay?
good, man. It's another great day, man. Enjoying all the sports. It's like sports overload, man. Craziness going on everywhere, man. It's just too much to talk about.
Right. It's so much going on. It's a lollapalooza of silliness going on right now in the sports world. And we got to get to it, man. But we've got to talk about the pressing story of the evening, of the morning, of the day, of tomorrow. It's going to be Doc Rivers and the LA Clippers.
Shocking.
Listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
Shocking.
Can we say shocking? Can we say, let's say it again. Shocking.
Oh, dude. Who are they going to get better than Doc Rivers? That's all I want to know. I mean, he poo-pooed. We'll talk about how the series played out. But what better coach is there than Doc Rivers right now in the NBA? I mean, who's available? D'Antoni? I mean, who are they going to get? I don't understand the move. I don't know where you're going from this point.
All right, so let's get ready to talk about it. Let's talk about Doc getting clipped.
Wow.
Right.
You went a long way to get that one.
I did. I had to go back to our Clippers that got clipped. Yeah. It's funny because we talked about this before. I think, and I'm saying, hey, G Sizzle's pretty good about this. I think G Sizzle was the one who called that, maybe the Doc time has come to the end for this shit.
You
maybe
did say that.
Captain his last boat.
You did say that. Mm-hmm. I was like, G Sizzle has been sucking on the chocolate syrup a little bit too much. And, and I just didn't see it going. My whole thing, well, I'll tell you what, we did talk about this. And when they lost this last game, it's almost like Doc Rivers lost that locker room. And Chris Broussard was talking about that there was some rift going on in that locker room because of preferential treatment to Paul George. And that the locker room was starting to think that possibly Paul George was not a superstar. He was a star, and they were stars too. The only superstar they really had was Kawhi Leonard. And so they weren't understanding why we weren't getting the same preferential treatment as Paul George, because we know Paul George had left the bubble the series beforehand. They were ready to go. So it showed up. I mean, neither one of these guys, he nor Kawhi Leonard, showed up in the fourth quarter of Game 7. So, and you saw Doc just sitting there basically flabbergasted, like he didn't have anything else. You know, he looked like one of those dads that, try to get their kid to do the homework, and he gets a call from the teacher, the fifth call in 2 weeks, that the kid didn't turn in his homework. You know, what are you supposed to do? So, it was really, I'm interested about it. I just don't know who else is going to get this better than Doc.
Well, let's bring up the Chicago Bulls quickly.
Do we have to?
Because they hired. Yes, we do. Just for a moment. Can
we do a redo? Can we do a redo on that hire?
Oh, I'm wondering if Billy is wondering that. Like, they did what?
It'd be hard. It'd be hard. I mean, look, I'm loving Billy too. I dig Billy. I think Billy's a good hire. I don't think they're going to do that.
I dig him. I don't, but maybe he doesn't want that pressure. And I'm saying that, and somebody's like, "Oh my God, Jesus, that is such." He's not a loser. Yeah. He wants to win. But in that kind of environment, with a Kawhi, Paul George, you've got Lou Williams, you've got other players. Now that you have to show preferential treatment to. He may not want that kind of foolishness. He might not want to have that kind of team. So I don't know if he was ever considered as a Clipper replacement. No. But I know right now you've got some things going on. I just don't understand. And maybe you can explain it to me, Jay. What difference or preference was given to Paul George that the other players weren't afforded?
Well, I think Paul George was able to call the shots a little bit like he was a superstar. Like, Kawhi Leonard is no leader.
Really?
He's no leader. He's a quiet guy. Okay. He's going to give you a great effort on the court. He's going to lead by example. But, superstars had a certain cachet about him because you can put the ball in their hands in crunch time and make that happen. And we see Paul George is not that guy. he hasn't been that guy since that horrific leg injury a long time ago. And I think Paul George, in his mind, was still in Indiana, and he was top dog. He was a big fish in the small pond. And I think that thing carried on because he was courted so heavily by Ballmer and Doc Rivers and Kawhi Leonard to come there that he was just in superstar status, and he believed he should be there. And so he walked around acting that way, but he wasn't producing that way. And you had a lot of guys on that team that says, hey, I'm putting up numbers, especially in the postseason, that are comparable to Paul George, and we're not getting that type of treatment. So I think what happened was that, you're supposed to be the superstar, but you did not produce at the end. And these other guys looking at you say, I could do that too. And you're getting paid how much money? Because we understand there's a big differential in payment between the top 3 or 4 guys on the NBA team and the bottom 6 or 7 guys on the NBA team. There's a huge difference. And you're getting paid all that money. One person's getting paid the same amount of money as 5 people, and you're producing like the 8th or 9th guy on the list. They were a little upset about that, and I think that's what happened.
Really, I'm wondering now, the question came up. We were listening to some articles and some reports, and it came up on NBA TV. It came up on NBA radio. It's come up in a lot of publications that maybe we've classified Paul George as a superstar. Maybe he's really not one. Maybe he's just a star. Maybe he's a really good player. And since that injury, maybe he's not as great as we think he is anymore. Well, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I mean, when he was in Indiana, you put Paul George in at least Jimmy Butler status. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You had him in Jimmy Butler status. And so if Jimmy Butler can move around the league and cause havoc, and from here on out, I shall refer him to as Squire Butler, and he's going through and taking people's hearts and beating people to death, showing up when he wants to and to practice and just killing people. Paul George was in that same ilk. The problem was Paul George just didn't produce like that. You know what I'm saying? And this is a league of what have you done for me lately? I mean, here's the thing about it. You don't hear anybody talking about Kawhi Leonard in that way, that he didn't produce, because Kawhi Leonard did not produce in the playoffs in those last 2 games. He didn't produce.
He did not.
You know what I'm saying? But Paul George is sort of getting the stink. But I think Paul George basically got Doc Rivers fired. I think he did, because I think Steve Ballmer actually saw what was going on, and maybe because Paul George might not be, you had to try to treat him with kid gloves because he didn't want to be there anyway. I think he was sort of being coaxed to stay there because he already was talking about how tough the bubble was. So I think we were dealing with that mental issue, and very possible Doc Rivers, and I'm just saying this off my observation, that Doc Rivers might not have been able to ride him like he needed to do for them to push forward and make something happen. Because you saw in Game 7, Doc Rivers was basically sitting on his hands, reading the book and eating a cookie when they were getting beat by the Nuggets. You know what I'm saying? And they had nothing to answer for. So that's what I think that was going on. I think he lost the locker room. I think that's what happened.
Everyone has to do their job. Do your job.
So let's talk about jobs being done, because we haven't, now with this Doc thing, we didn't even get a chance to really flesh out and talk about the Lakers in the Heat against Squire Butler, who will come in and probably try and behead many of the Laker players.
Game of Zone, man. I'll tell you, that's the greatest parody of sports, man. I'm telling you, it really is.
You have to, if you haven't watched it, you're not a true basketball fan until you watch Game of Zones. And here's the thing that's funny to me. You just talked about Paul George and how in Indiana he was the de facto leader. But it made me think about George Hill. It made me think about a lot of other guys that were on that team with him that were probably the leaders, and Paul George got the credit. And I don't think he got that credit with the Clippers. I think the Lou Williams, those guys were like, no, the Patrick Beverleys, they were like, no, we were here. We were doing this before you got here. Before you and Kawhi, really, we were putting in work. So I don't know if it's so much Doc lost the locker room. I think Doc has just lost grip on what it is or what it's going to take to get a win in. And I don't think Doc would have been ready for the LA
Well,
Lakers. I really don't.
Well, you had some injuries and stuff going on. I don't think that supporting cast was good enough to compete with the Lakers. I really don't think so. I think they were going to get whacked anyway. I thought they were going to go down in 5. I never thought Kawhi. I'm wondering, is Kawhi injured and not saying anything about it? I wonder if that thigh that was hurt last year is hurt again, because you never really saw him get really super explosive like normally Kawhi Leonard does. Kawhi is one of the quickest players in the NBA, super strong, super quick to the bucket, and you saw him settling a lot of jump shots, Right. I don't remember one time in that Nuggets series, when they were in that series, that they were going to. I never came out my seat when Kawhi was going to the basket. But he never made me go, okay, there goes Kawhi. I never saw him leaping out the gym like he can. So I think possibly that there just maybe was an injury there that slowed him down. He just became a not wannabe jump shooter. And I think Paul George all of a sudden figured that out, that Kawhi wasn't going to be able to carry this team. And Paul George, I don't think, was ever able to carry the team. I think he's your quintessential Robin. And he might not even be Robin. He might be Batgirl.
That is ridiculous. That is so ridiculous.
Hey.
No. You don't want me to go much further. No. You don't want me to go much further. Go right ahead. Ask the question.
I'm not going to ask the next question because you're ridiculous.
Hey,
I'm not even going to
you're part of the dynamic duo, but you're on the other side. I mean, you show up every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't show up.
I'm not going to do it.
He didn't show up. He didn't show up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So I'm going to throw some names
Go
at
ahead.
you. Oh, yeah. This is going to be called the Jason Pin the Coach on the Wheel segment.
Right, here we go.
That's what we're going to call it.
Here we go.
So let me throw some names at you. Ty.
So he won the NBA championship when he was with the Cavs 4 million years ago. What have you done for me lately? It's possible, but does he make you go, oh, yeah, let's get Ty Lue? I don't know.
Jason Kidd. Yeah, you gotta do something. You gotta say something. You just can't sit there and look beautiful.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing with Jason Kidd. It's like Jason Kidd needs the players around him, but is he the guy to motivate Kawhi Leonard? Can he and Patrick Beverly coexist on the same type of ball club? Because you got somewhat of the same type of mentality, and I can see Jason Kidd, trying to slap people upside the head with a clipboard, and will Paul George respond to a guy like Jason Kidd? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's going to happen. So we'll see.
All right. Sam Cassell.
He's an up-and-coming future coach. He's a guy who, if they give him the job, but it's okay, is Sam Cassell a better coach than Doc Rivers, or do they just need another voice? That's the whole thing. Is there another voice that's needed there? Because if you're just going to get another voice now, you got to look, I don't know, you got to look somewhere else. Do you go up in the booth and try to pull somebody out of the booth?
Well, excellent. I'm glad you asked that question because the next one is Mark Jackson.
Do you go to the booth and pull somebody out the booth? Do you go get a Mark Jackson or somebody like that? I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, your list is sort of short now to replace the Clippers right now, unless you're gonna do something crazy and go pull somebody we don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I got one last good one for you. Stan Van Gundy.
Well, and that's what I was thinking about when we were talking about going up in the booth. I think maybe you can coerce him back out of the booth. You pretty much got a team ready to go, ready to play. Maybe you need to move a couple of pieces in that locker room to make them viable. You definitely need some outside shooting. You definitely need a little bit more help rebounding wise. But I mean, you got a nucleus there definitely. Now Doc was no to fold. He had him up 3-1. And they got chased down and beat. And I don't want to hear about they got tired. It was a short season. How does anybody get tired in a short season? I just think they weren't motivated to win. I don't think they wanted to be there. I think they were ready to put on, their Black Lives Matter shirt and go home. And I think that's what it was.
Well, how are you motivated, though, to go up 3-1 in a series? That's what I don't understand. Everybody keeps talking about their motivation. They were motivated to go up 3-1 in a series.
Well, the thing,
and all you needed was one more game to win.
But here's the issue, right? They went up 3-1 on talent. And then all of a sudden, talent said, you take it. No, you take it. You take it. Hey, somebody call Commissioner Gordon. Has anybody seen Batman? Anybody seen Robin? Well, maybe Catwoman will come and help us out. You know what I'm saying? And basically, they looked at each other, and then, especially in Game 7, you talking about they went 0 in the fourth quarter in Game 7. How do you go 0? I mean, not a shot fell between the two of them in Game 7 in the final quarter. What does that tell you? That tells me, look.
It tells me they suck. How about
Paul George hit the side of the backboard on a 3
multiple times. It wasn't just he hit the backboard. Take that backboard.
When you hit the side of the backboard and you shooting the corner 3, that tells me you're just chucking that bad boy up there. You weren't shutting up and shooting that thing with confidence. You weren't stroking that with confidence, because I think he was a guy who was ready to leave. He probably had his bags packed already. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what's funny is we talk about that, but in a short series, the oldest team and the least talented team are the ones who've made it to the finals. So you got the Lakers, who are pretty old, because those are old players around.
They're superstars.
Kyle Kuzma might be your youngest player.
They're superstars, though.
Okay, the Lakers the Clippers had a ton of stars. Yeah. You got 2 superstars. The Clippers had at least 1 superstar and multiple other stars, because I put Lou Williams in that star role. If you can be the 6th man multiple years and come in and did what he did consistently, you got to say.
But look at what happened, though, to their stars in the closeout game, right? Look what happened. You saw both those guys, Paul George and Leonard, Kawhi Leonard, go 0 in the. I keep saying that because I'm still trying to get it wrapped around my head that they went 0. Now you look at a LeBron James who went and took Murray on one-on-one and shut him down toward the back end of that game. That, to me, tells the difference between these two ball players. You still had LeBron James still putting up offensive production, still facilitating that offense, and he went on and took on and shut down Jamal Murray, because he did that in that last part of that game. He literally shut down Jamal Murray and said, somebody else is going to beat me, not you. That's championship basketball. What you saw from the Clippers and Doc Rivers sitting on his hands over there, and that look. I'm a dad. I've had to discuss the look before. You're watching from the stands. So you're like, how did you just miss the ball? You were trying to kick the ball and you missed it again. We just worked on this in the backyard, and you did the same thing you've been doing for years. And that's basically what he saw.
Yeah. That was it. And the sad part is, first of all, I don't want to hear from anyone else talking about LeBron being washed up and, he's 35. He'll be 36 in like 2 more months, man. He sure ain't moving like he used to. He took the best player on the Nuggets, defended him for multiple games. Kawhi, did you do that? Paul George, did you do that? Patrick Beverley, the defensive stopper, did you do that? Lou Williams, have you guarded anyone? I think it's a fair question. And that's why you have Heat Lakers. I like it. I really do. And I think if Squire Butler comes in and maybe kills 1 or 2 Lakers, maybe you're looking at a Heat champion. Possibly.
This is going to be mayhem. Absolute mayhem.
Yes.
The Heat play the best 2-3 zone in the world. Absolutely in the world.
Right.
You got Tyler Hero, for whatever reason, is the kid says, I can do this. I'm a bucket. I can do this. He's unconscious. He was like 4 when LeBron got into the league. You know what I'm saying? He was something like that. Now he's going out here to play against his childhood hero. You know he had LeBron, had LeBron shoes, the whole 9 yards. You know he did. So now you got a bunch of guys over here. Bam Adebayo, I can't say his last name. Adebayo?
Adebayo.
I'm close. Attaboy, Bam. You know what I'm saying? Bam, attaboy.
And who else? The only other person you know is Squire Butler. And if I might remind you, Squire Butler did his best defense when he was with the Bulls on LeBron James.
So you got Jimmy Butler, who is going to get up in LeBron and battle LeBron. You got now all day long. Now you got AD. Now you got a quick Bam attaboy, Adebayo, who is quick around the basket and who's decided, I'm 23 years old and I can score I'm a bucket too. You know what I'm saying? Who can bring the ball up himself. We saw him doing that. And AD is going to have to chase him and play him. So you're looking at a situation, and okay, here's the other side of it too, right? Who's stopping Tyler Hero? You know, who you putting out there on him? Because Tyler Hero is shifty. You know, and so I think you're going to see him with a lot of minutes. Just look, you're looking at the Lakers are minus 400 favorites. You got to get $1, you got to put down 4. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's that far different. But I think this Miami Heat team is better. Let's ask a question. Would the difference with the Celtics be different if the Celtics won the series against the Heat? Would it be closer?
No. I think the Celtics would actually get swept or win one game. Yeah. I really do. Because they have no answer for AD.
Right. And I don't think the Heat really have an answer for AD. I think what's going to have to happen, I think they're going to throw people at him, the three-headed monster, and they're just going to try to beat him up and bang him off the boards. That's what they're going to have to do.
You're going to have to throw Kelly Olynyk on top of it, literally.
And Kelly will throw that jiu-jitsu on him or whatever. Whose arm did he dislocate when he was playing for the Celtics?
Oh, yes, he just dislocated.
He did that on purpose. I just saw that move on Gracie's jiu-jitsu. That's like move number 8. And they showed you how to set that move up from the guard, and they showed you how to make that move, and that's the same exact move he did. He put that arm up in there and wrenched that shoulder up out of place. Kelly Olynyk is that guy. He will try to do it, and I would. Now here's the other part about that too. How tweaked up is that ankle with AD now? I mean, he played through there with all that adrenaline. He looked pretty good through it, but now it's been a couple of days now. So we wonder now, is that ankle going to give him a problem? We're going to wonder that.
Well, we'll find out in game 1. Game 1 is coming, but we got to go on and talk about what was the game tonight. I mean, there was a game that happened tonight that we got to talk about because we're giving the people stuff hot off the presses. Fire, baby. We got to talk about Chiefs Ravens.
You like that? You like that?
Listen, man, I know I liked it. I know you liked it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even have to answer. I know you liked it. So let me throw some numbers out at you. There was a game tonight in Monday Night Football where the Chiefs beat the Baltimore Ravens 34-20. This was a game, my friend, where you had Patrick Mahomes go 31 for 42 for 385 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he added in 4 carries for 26 yards, which is an average of 6.5 yards, and a rushing touchdown. My man did it all. I'm not even going to tell you about the stats. It doesn't even make sense to go over to Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson was 15 for 28 for 97 yards. He rushed for 83 yards. I mean, he would be a good running back for the team. But look here, man. Look. I'm telling you, I'm looking at the stat sheet, and if I'm correct, 8 receivers caught passes.
Yeah, that guy spread the ball. Look, let me tell you something. He can flip his hips. Him playing shortstop, his dad being a baseball player, and him being around Major League Baseball players when he was a young guy, 2, 3, 4 years old, and learning how to get his hips turned so he could throw the baseball to first base from those different angles. That is what's serving him well as an NFL quarterback. He could get those hips turned and get pointed and this is the thing you try to teach young kids to do, is to get those hips turned quarterbacks and throw directly to the target. He's probably the best I've seen doing that. And the one thing he's really good at, and he does not get credit for, is that he throws one of the best deep balls in the game. He has a big arm, and he can put a lot of air underneath that ball, and he throws it to an open area where his slow receivers, the 4-3 guys, because the other two fast receivers are 4-2, but the 4-3 guys can go get it, and that's what you saw today.
Yeah,
if accurately, he could put the ball in the windows accurately. And he's really a dangerous quarterback. Only person you can really compare him to is Russell Wilson, I think.
Yeah, at this point. I think they're the only two comps. But I got to give some love to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man. Let me talk about the kid from Baton Rouge, the 21-year-old rookie, the 5'7", 207-pound multi-back that came in and put a combined 134 yards of rushing and receiving yards together. I don't know how the rich get richer, but the Chiefs have figured out a way to bring in a rookie, and he has come in and wreaked havoc at 5'7". He is doing everything that you need him to do. And fantasy owners, if you did not pick him up, which there were some people who said, the Ricky don't get him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
See how that worked out for you.
That was a bad mistake. But can I just bring up one little thing? Just one little thing. I know we don't have much time, but look, man, shout out again to 10-1, which equals.
You like that one, huh?
I did like that. Which equals Nick Foles, man. So Nick Foles in the huddle tells Anthony Miller, I see the play getting ready to come up. They're getting ready to come to the line of scrimmage. He said, look, if I check out of the play, I'm going to go back to the play that we used at the end of the second half, right? What I need you to do is get to the L in the ATL on the ground. Get to the L. I'm going to throw it quick. It's going to be hard. I'm going to get it there. He checks out the play. Anthony Miller knows he checks out the play. He goes, slants, hits the L. The ball is there.
Professional quarterback. Professional quarterback.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
He's a pro quarterback. Look, he's a guy who understands completely what's going on. He understands what's happening on the field. Nothing was moving too fast for him. He was able to remember plays before. Hey, do what you did on that last play, last quarter. I need you to go do that. Matter of fact, we're going to make this up as we go. I'm making this check up. This ain't even a check that's in our checks. I'm making this check up myself.
This is our check.
This is our check.
This is just between us. Coach didn't even know we were going to that play.
This is a professional quarterback, and this is what we have lacked in the Chicago since. And I want to say, let me put my thinking cap on. The last real professional quarterback we had here before, well, of course, Jimmy McMahon. But the last real professional quarterback we had here, people always didn't like him, but was old number 6 out there who used to just throw the ball to Brandon Marshall. But that was their last real professional quarterback that we've had in Chicago. Beyond that,
it's funny. I thought you were going to mention the one he got traded for to Denver. I thought he was the last Bears real professional. Not that I have anything against Jay. It's just it was such a clown show around Jay. It just really it never seemed to
Jay was always in rebellion. And he was promised certain things that he didn't get it. He was running for his entire life the whole time he played for the Chicago Bears. He should not have on football cleats. He should have had track shoes on and been in starting blocks running to the other end zone. Because literally, when they hiked the football, Jay was running for his life back there. And then number 2 thing, too, Jay was a diabetic. People don't realize that. He was a type 2 diabetic. Right. And he used to have to take medication on the sidelines. And people don't realize that. So I think sometimes Jay was having issues with his diabetes, and sometimes his focus wasn't where it needed to be all the time. However, when he came in from Denver, I was a happy camper because I said they had a professional quarterback in here. They wasted Jay Cutler. They wasted that defense with Jay Cutler. And then we just went through a myriad of guys who were just throwing in there. Now you went and got this guy who, did you know today they said something I was just absolutely amazed by?
What's that?
Patrick Mahomes is the first quarterback. He's number 1 on the list to get to 10,000 yards. He's number 1. Number 1.
You know what? That's funny because that reminds me of something, which is the sizzle word of the week, the WOW. What is the wow word of the week? Maintain. Yeah. And what does that mean? To be able to keep your composure while being woke. So shout out to you. I'm telling you, man, Patrick Mahomes was my first quarterback off my fantasy. And for those of me who laugh like, you thinking quarterback with your first? Yes, I did.
How you enjoying it? How you enjoying them 40 plus today? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't get to 40 plus today because I wasn't there for my fantasy pick, and my fantasy league gave me Christian McCaffrey first, and I would have. I would have took Mahomes first because I was going to break all the rules.
Neither of us, but see, neither of us was in our own draft. Ridiculous as it sounds. So guess what? We ended up getting some ridiculous teams. Like my quarterback, I think they gave me. Was it? That young man from Philadelphia. Carson Wentz was my starting quarterback.
How'd that go out? How'd that work out for you?
I cut him.
How'd that work out for you? You know.
It didn't. It didn't at all. It didn't at all. But, we got to get ready to get out of here. So, Jay, before we leave, you got to leave the people with something hot. You got to leave them with some fire.
Like I've told you before, the winter is coming.
Right.
Go out and get your windshield wiper fluid and put it in your car now. Because that first winter day when that snow hits, you're going to hit that thing, you're going to hear squeak, 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 squeak. Because you didn't put none in at the end of the year. Nobody puts in windshield wiper fluid at the end of the season once it's over with because you don't care. You know what I'm saying? So go put some windshield wiper fluid on so you can drive down the street and figure out where you're going. And stay on the road, too. All you people, listen, can I give one more safety tip? When the first snow hits, okay, y'all in them pickup trucks, don't believe the commercials, all right? Stop all the guy with the 4x4s. Stop believing the commercials. Stop watching it. Those are professional drivers on the closed road course. It says that in 6 font on the bottom. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, you can't drive like those guys. You're going to mess around and leave your bumper all over the interstate out there while you spinning down the road like what's his name? Sprito and Chim Chim, Speed Racer. And you gonna be out there in the Mach 5 spinning sideways. You know how he would be screaming, spinning around side in the flat spin. You remember? That's what he's gonna be.
Yes, I do.
Hey, you know what though? You know who I really like? Racer X, man. Racer X was pretty cool. I like Racer X. Did you ever watch the wacky racers?
Yes.
That was great, man. Was Tom Slick with the Thunderbolt grease slapper? That's the greatest name of a car we ever seen before.
I'm telling you, man, people just don't know that generation of cartoons, and I've always said cartoons were made actually for adults, not for children. And if you were smart enough as a child, you probably were able to keep up with it. Like if you didn't watch the Honeymooners and watch the Flintstones, you would think it was creative, but the Flintstones were the Honeymooners. That's a funny thing. I'm just saying these were some of the things.
It was great though, dude. I mean,
it was great.
You can get up on Saturday mornings and eat with a box of cereal because we're big fellas. You eat a box of cereal and a plastic bowl, and sit down in front of the TV on Saturday mornings, man, in your jammies, and you're watching all the stuff, man. Scooby Doo, everything. It was great.
Yeah, I missed the Jackson 5.
Dude, I want you back. I was just watching that the other day. No, man, you can go. YouTube's greatest invention ever created by man.
You're right.
Dude, you can watch anything on YouTube, man. Anything. You remember they was on? I think they was on the Carol Burnett show. Remember they were on the Carol Burnett show? That was fantastic. Carol Burnett's great.
You know what else you can watch on YouTube? The SIZZLE.
Right,
You can always watch the SIZZLE. You can log on, and then you go to Iron Skillet Sports, and then you know what you do? You subscribe, you like, and then you share. It's a very easy process. You can find us on social media anywhere. Just find us, subscribe, like, and share. It's that easy.
Hit the like button, you guys. The subscribe button. You see the content we're putting out for you. 100 days straight we're putting out content. You know, we got other channels getting ready to get started. We're just getting started with the SIZZLE. We got Mikes and men getting ready to come out here probably in another week or so. So we're just going to get out there. We're going to keep putting it out there, man, until you guys actually find us. So keep looking. We're going to be there.
Always going to be there for you. So you know what it is. You know who it is. This is the SIZZLE here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television. We are the talk of the 219, and we will see you on the other side.
Did you know that you can listen to Iron Skillet Radio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor? It's easy. Look for Iron Skillet Sports or #skillet_sports for our latest episodes. We are Iron Skillet Sports.